Let's talk about this. Again, test Monday. Did you write sub for Wednesday? Okay, now, today is Thursday. So if we have an x for our angle, we don't know what our angle is, so we need to always label O, H, and A, right? Here's my angle, O. Here's my right angle, H, and A. So for tan, when I remember SOHCAHTOA, tan is TOA, right? O over A. So it's going to be what over what? Okay, 24 over 10. Do y'all see that on there? Okay, so 24 over 10 does reduce, and it reduces to 12 over 5. Cool. And then we got sine. Sine is so O over H. So O over H is opposite over hypotenuse. So 24 over 26 reduces to what? 12 over 13. Okay, and then cosine, that's your ca. C stands for cosine. A over H is 10 over 26, which again reduces to 5 over 13. Okay, now stay with me because we got to do these notes. It's one-sided, it's just a couple of examples. All I'm showing you is one extra step to solve for a missing angle using inverse trig. Okay. All right. Here we go. On your notes, one-sided, couple examples. You might come in again. Sorry. Okay, so inverse trigonometry. It tells you the steps off to the right. I'll just show you. Okay, we are missing an angle right here. So first of all, does everyone see x is not on the outside? It's not a side. It's the missing angle in the corner here, the vertex. Okay. All we've been using trig for is missing sides, but today we can find a missing angle. Now, I'm going to put a little arc at x, and then I'm going to do just like our warm-up. Can you label O, H, and A from that angle? Let's go ahead and do that. So opposite from x, put an O there. Across from 90, we're going to put an H there. A is left over. Now, which one of those three has nothing on it? Which one can I scratch out? Okay, H is missing, scratch it out. So now I want to remember SOHCAHTOA. Okay, now which one of these is OA? So, ka, or toa? Toa, right? Yes. Oh, sorry. Here it is. So TOA, T stands for tan, right? So let's go and write tan. Now, what's the angle that we started at? What angle did we start at? Inside. Yeah, you. Yeah, X. There's no numbers, but that is the angle we started at. So tan parentheses X equals, and then we're going to use the fraction, TOA, O over A. So O over A is going to be 5 over 14. Okay, So we know how to set it up, but we have not solved one of these yet. Now we do know to solve means to get x by itself, so I need to get rid of this trig in front of the x. So here's the question. How do you get rid of a tan? Any ideas? You stay out of the sun. Okay, well, for real, to get rid of a tangent is to do what the title of this is. We do inverse trigonometry, the inverse of tangent, okay? Now, you might remember when you press the trig button in your calculator, there's like other weird stuff in there, and those little inverses are in there. Now, everybody at the very top, go ahead and draw a little -1 on top of the word inverse. Whenever you see a little -1 exponent, that means inverse. So draw this right here, very top, okay? Whenever we're talking about inverse trig, we're talking about little -1s. So now I'm going to show you the long way to write this first, and then I'll show you a shortcut after this, okay? But so for this, if I want to get rid of tan x, the tan in front of x, I'm going to take the whole thing and make it inverse trig. So watch this. Tan inverse, which with a little -1, this is brand new. Hey, this is brand new. Can you not do that? Yeah, that's the calculator you can use, not that. Now, tan inverse, go ahead and write of tan x. And then on the other side, you're going to also put tan inverse and then the fraction. Again, this is the long way to write it. I'll show you a shortcut in a minute. But if I take both sides and do tan inverse on both sides, I want you to notice the left side has tan inverse and tan. Guess what those do to each other? They're opposites, so they cancel each other out. That's why we did it, so we could get x by itself. So tan inverse and tan, scratch them, scratch, scratch. Now I'm left with x equals, and now I have a tan inverse 5/14. Now x is by itself. And if I put in this into my calculator, it'll give me the answer. Now I want you to notice exactly what happened. To get from here to here, the only thing that really changed is tan went to the other side. But whenever something crosses over that equal sign, it's got to be an opposite. So again, you can move trig to the other side, it just has to be a little -1, inverse, okay? Well, can we type that in our calculator? Tan inverse 5/14. So I go to my calculator, I press that trig button. Now notice the second row has all the trig inverse, cosine inverse, sine inverse, and then tan inverse is what I want to click, tan with a little -1. And then I'm going to type the fraction 5 divided by 14, and I get 19.653, which rounds to 19.65. My units of measure, when we're talking about an angle, the units of measure are degrees, so make sure you put a little degree symbol. Do you see how this works? Missing angle, inverse trig. That's the idea. Let's do number 1. Actually, 1 and 2. Can y'all label OHA on number 1 and 2, right? So label OHA on number 1 and 2 right now. With your pencil. There you go. On number 1, I've got O, H, and A. You do number 2, O, H, and A. You can already scratch out the one you don't need. You can probably even pick the trig you need. Okay? All of a sudden. Well, on number 1, which one do I not need? O, H, or A? No O, right? Scratch out that O. So all I really need is AH. So let's remember SOHCAHTOA. Which one is AH? C-A-H, right? Cos. So C stands for cosine. So we're going to write cosine, parentheses, and my angle that I started at, again, is missing. So it's cosine x equals, and then A over H, 10 over 13. Okay, now look, I'm telling you the shortcut to do this. Ready? Don't have to do it the way I did it last time, the long way. What you can do, and this is what I do, I can move this cosine to the other side easily as long as I make it inverse. So again, cosine to the other side, but you got to put the little -1 on it. Okay? If you cross the equal sign, you must make it opposite. Okay? So now we just have x equals cosine inverse 10 over 13. X equals cosine inverse 10 over 13. All right? And then all we got to do is type it in the calculator. So we go to our calculator, we go to trig, cosine inverse 10 over 13. I got 39.715. 39.72 is what it rounds to. And my units of measure are degrees. Okay, do you see how this works? Okay, on number 2, again, you label OHA, OHA. This time H is missing, so I scratch out H. OA is TOA for tan, so I'm going to write tan X equals O over A, 11 over 16. I move the tan to the other side of the equation, and it becomes inverse. Cancels out the tan. So X equals tan inverse 11 over 16. All right, so X equals, what is tan inverse 11 over 16? 34.508 is 34.51. And again, that is in degrees. Do you see how to find the missing angle using inverse trig? So it's still trig, it's just one little weird step, make it inverse. Now, what's weird about 3 and 4 here? What do you notice? What's weird about 3 and 4? Okay, there's a Y, right? So if there's more than one letter, you can't do both at the same time. Just pick one to start with. Let's start with X, okay? So again, might as well start with X. So once again, label OHA starting at X. OHA. Which one do I not need? H is blank, so I'm just going to use OA, which is tan X equals O over A, 10 over 24. I move the tan to the other side to get rid of it. So X is tan inverse 10 over 24. All right, so tan inverse 10 over 24 gives me 22.619, which is 22.62. Now look, if I know X, how do y'all think I can figure out Y? How do you figure out y? What do you think? You just look, you don't. It's crazy. Ideas. Like what we just did is find a missing angle. So you could do that, what we just did all over again. You could. Another thing we know. What do we know about the inside of a triangle? What do they always add up to? You got to know this one. What do the angles inside of a triangle add up to? What do these three angles always add up to? Okay, you need to know this, that they always add up to 180. You've never heard that? Yeah, you got to remember. Okay, so they always add up to 180. Check it out. If you know x is 22.62, and you know this is 90, can't you add them up and subtract from 180 to figure out the missing angle y, right? So here it is. Whoop, whoop. So that's what I did. Look, 90 plus 22.62 gives me 112.62. Subtract that from 180, and I got 67.38. I'm going to leave it on the board, so it's up to you. So I figured out y just by adding x and 90, subtracting from 180. Number 4 is just like number 3, so I'm just going to put it on the board there for you so I can pass out the assignment because we're short on time, and I still got people who need to do corrections. So I'm going to leave this on the board, but that's it. Y'all understand how to find a missing angle? Okay? Label it, inverse trig it. You got questions? Let me know. Okay?